If you don't want to get rejected because of admin topics, then watch this video till the end because I'm going to give you exact 5 topics that you need to study for your next Salesforce interview. So let's get started. So the first topic that you need to cover is sharing and security. Now, no matter which type of interview you go, whether you are in admin, whether you are a developer, whether you are a solution architect, whether you are whatever architect, whatever you are, you will be asked a question regarding sharing and security. This is one of the most favorite question for any interviewer because there is more scope to fail in this particular topic. So this topic surely do cover, and these are the following things that you need to cover in this topics. That includes roles, OWD, sharing rules, manual sharing, and also the Apex sharing as well. So there are only three parameters in Apex sharing. You need to cover those three parameters as well: profile, permission set, and permission set group. And there is one more thing that you need to add is muting permission sets. Right? How do you use them? Now, when you just go through these topics like roles, what is, don't just go through like what is roles, what is OWD, what is sharing rule. Don't do it that way. Instead of that, try to create scenarios and try to see how these roles is used in OWD, how this OWD is used in sharing rules, how this sharing rules is used in manual sharing, and vice versa. So try to understand how they are like complementing each other or even rejecting each other, how they are used within each other, how which takes precedence, profiles or at the roles and security, what exactly it happens. So try to think in that direction. In that case, you will find multiple types of scenarios which will help you in your next Salesforce interview. Let's move on to the next topic that says relationships. Now in Salesforce, relationship is very much important, and there are multiple types of the relationships. But as far as the interview is concerned, they will ask you at least one questions regarding the relationships, right? You might have always seen it. So the points that are covered inside the relationships are different types of the relationships. Like, usually if someone asks you what are the different types of the relationship, people usually say master detail, lookup, and many to many relationship. This is very common, but there are more to it. There is self relationship, there is hierarchical relationship, and there are multiple types of the relationships. I would really recommend you guys to cover those things as well because many of the people do not talk about it. So I'll really recommend you to go ahead a little bit extra mile and try to understand what are the different types of the relationship, and just not mug it up, but actually try to understand what are these different types of the relationship. Also, they will ask you the questions regarding lookup relationships, and it will include scenarios within that. For an example, can you create a junction object using lookup relationships? So these kinds of questions and scenarios can be created around these topics. Also, master data relationship, you always know how sharing works in master data relationship. If parent is deleted, child is deleted, and all that stuff, right? The field is required on a page layout, all these things you have to cover in the master detail relationship as well. And one of the most favorite interview question is, or one of the most interview topic in this relationships is many to many relationships. No matter what happens, they will ask you one question at least regarding many to many relationship. Like, for an example, I have a junction object. If I delete this parent A, what will happen? Will the parent B record also get deleted, and all that stuff? So many to many relationship is a very go to questions, like very go to topic for every interview that you go to, right? So relationships, you can cover these topics, but you can go beyond this as well, but I don't think so there is too much after this relationship. Like, if you cover these topics, most probably relationships will be also covered for you. Let's move on to the next topic that says objects. Now people, what they do is that they either, they underestimate objects, right? Underestimate objects. And when they are being asked an interview question according to objects, they are able to give very difficult questions, but they don't know much probably about the objects. And people usually forget to cover about it because they think, okay, I'm using it every day, what's the big deal? But there are multiple topics, there are multiple important things that you also need to cover in the objects, and that includes different types of the objects. Now people only say custom objects and standard object, but if you think about it, there is big object, there is external objects. If you tell about these types of the objects as well, this makes your interview much more interesting. That shows that you have gone beyond the custom objects and standard objects as well, right? They'll also ask you when do you use big object, when do you use custom objects, when do you use big external objects, and all that stuff, right? And another thing is big objects. What exactly is a big object? Many people do not cover it up because, but I have seen, not many times the question is asked around big objects, but you should know what exactly big objects and external objects are, and how relationships are also built inside the external objects. That is also Very important. Many people don't know how the relationships are usually built inside the external objects as well. And the next topic is custom setting and custom metadata. If you sit in any interview, at least at least one question will be asked to you around this. You need to cover this topic. If you are appearing for any interview, admin or any interview you are appearing, you have to cover this topic: custom setting versus custom metadata, right? Or either just custom setting and custom metadata. And the following things are usually asked in that, like for an example, what is custom setting, what is custom metadata, where are they used, and when to use custom setting, when to use metadata, custom metadata, right? And what is the difference between both of them. So if you cover all these things, right, for an example, then most probably custom setting and custom metadata will be clear for you, right? One of the additional thing that I want to add is that how can you make a code, or either can you make a flow configurable using custom setting and custom metadata. This can be also asked, like how can you use custom setting and custom metadata inside your tools. Okay, now before moving to our last point, I would really recommend that if you're going to appear for any of the Salesforce interview and you are finding difficulty, or if you are not feeling confident enough, you can connect with me one to one by clicking on the top met link below. I take mock interviews which will help you in your next interview. Let's move on to the last point, that says reports and dashboards. People usually directly neglect it. Okay, they do directly neglect this particular topics. People don't think about it at all. But one of the most important thing is that this is not much asked, the reports and dashboard. But many of the times I have seen people getting asked regarding reports and dashboards, and which includes, most probably in reports and dashboard, usually what people ask is that what are the different types of the reports, what is joint reports, and also in dashboards which type of dashboards are there, and which types of reports can be used in which types of dashboards, and all that stuff. So these are the 5 topics that you need to cover in your next Salesforce interview. If you found this video helpful, I request you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel.